1, 2, 1, 2. Hey, what's up? I hope everything is going well. I made another mistake earlier trying to go live. I thought the audio is fine. I tested it once and it seemed like it's working, but then something switched it up and it stopped working. So now I had to get on and back off again. So this is a slightly different topic over here. Today I had to be out of the house for a short period of time and, well, for a couple of hours. And then coming back, I just didn't have it in me to switch on the computer, get some videos out that are still kind of stuck in my PC. So in my testing of this streaming situation, I had like 2 streams over 2 days where I had like 8 or 9 topics covered. And so each was a video and I had to just put them all out. And wow, that took a lot out of me. Of course, the editing has become much easier. Thank you. The Noble Nitpicker, thank you for arriving. Welcome. I bless you in the name of Jesus. I thank you for your support, for your strength. Today I need it. I'm talking about mental health and whatnot. So thank you for being a fellow, a comrade there. Today I'll be speaking about these other things. So welcome. Oh, let me switch scenes right quick. So there we are. There's your comment. Right? But for a moment, while I'll be talking, explaining the story, I'll be switched up over here. Right? So I've got like a number of videos to put out, and all of these videos are now a day or 2 old. They're pretty much too old now to actually put out, but I will just put them out. You'll forgive me when you see some older Nyana videos showing up. It's because I haven't caught up with the breaking news, the real time. If you joined me a couple of months ago, 2 months ago, you will have noticed that I was moving, at light speed with the news as it happens. And since then, since setting that kind of pace, I've been noticing both Sama Summit as well have been people who have really upped their game. Their propaganda has gotten some inspiration, like dropping 2, 3 videos per day, etc., etc., etc. But still, his videos are pretty simple. Somebody's writing the script from somewhere and giving the little Zimbabwean boy a script to read, and he just hops on and he probably sends off the video for somebody else to quickly edit it. There's a whole office behind him or something like that. And yeah, we're here to allege. We are asking questions. Actually, my Lord, Judge, the day Sama Summit brings me into court and he says that I've been insulting him and speaking ill of him. No, I didn't mean allege. I actually meant we're going to inquire as to whether he's Zimbabwean. There's rumors out there, and it's crucial for us to know because we are South African and this boy is busy saying all kinds of things and we don't know where he's from. It's a really strange thing. Imagine that. Imagine the Americans. Have you ever heard them when they talk about threat to national security? Huh? When people are on YouTube over there talking about American issues, those people are generally known. There's some journalistic integrity there, you see, or there's enough publicity. You're known enough for people to know that this is a voice, this is a particular person. He attends these meetings with these people. You can actually meet him in public, etc. This person is not broadcasting a YouTube channel from Iran, claiming that they are American, and they're talking about our president of the United States, Donald Trump, and you find that no, man, this is an Iranian here, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So we have to also be careful out here and inquire properly when we're listening to dudes. We got to understand who they are and where they come from. And you cannot escape this. It is being said that you are Zimbabwean, that you're not South African. And by the way, this is not any xenophobic stab at him. If he's Zimbabwean, that's what it is. That's where God has placed you. That is who you are. We don't have a problem with that. You're not a low class person. You're not a lower caste African than me because you're Zimbabwean. No. I don't hold to that. I don't subscribe to it. I'm just asking the genuine question. Who are you, bro? Come out with it. Which school did you go to? Why is your Instagram and stuff not out there? Can you see my socials over here? Can you see? All over here. These are my socials over here. Where are yours? And if people go there, will they find you and background that is actually real? Have you gone and seen my Facebook, bro? Have you gone and seen how personal and open a person I am over there? Open and transparent, I meant to say. You can see that, this is a real person, this one. From a long time ago, I got on Facebook and I've had a real profile. Do you have a real profile? We're asking the question. So anyway, we're out here. How do we end up talking about Sambit, man? But we are out here today. I had to go and get some medication. So I am a psychiatric patient. I don't know what you might make of that, or what are your initial thoughts? I'm keen to understand. I'm keen to know what that means to you. If somebody says that, does it mean uyahlanya? Does it mean he's bipolar? Does it mean he wakes up one day he's a different person? Does it mean he can't manage his emotions? Does it mean he's impaired in terms of reading, in terms of writing? Is he incapable of learning? Is he a delinquent? Is he prone to getting into issues, fights, and emotionally charged engagements with people? Is this person, like me, having a brain that is seeking thrill and finding stress and trouble? Am I without emotions? Do I not feel happy, sad? Do I not cry? Am I stone cold in the heart? I started talking about it because I was quite happy. I wasn't, how can I put it? I wasn't ashamed or feeling like I'll be judged in a negative way or anything like that. I didn't feel like it would minus my points of how I look to people, who I am, what I achieve, what I'm capable of. I didn't think that it would take away anything. But you know what ended up happening? People who are African, people who are close to me, many, for some reason, especially those who do not quite like me. When I started speaking about ADHD, it was also in trying to educate those who don't know anything about it. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I had come across something so important, something so revealing about my character, about my likes and my dislikes, about the way that I move, about the way that I've chosen to live life and the things that I've chosen to do. When I discovered ADHD, it answered a lot of questions going backwards. I was finding myself to be lacking concentration, procrastinating. And one time I was on the phone with a brother We were discussing about Dr. Umar Johnson. We were discussing about spirituality. I was telling him about Christ, and I think he had listened to Umar Johnson and he had heard him speak about ADHD and how, the system is, giving these medications to children at a young age because they say they're ADHD. And I didn't quite understand what ADHD was at that moment in time when he was talking about that. I didn't know at all. But I would try to fill in, like I know something. I would give some commentary to that, whatnot, and pivot the discussion back to Umar Johnson and whatever. But I would be curious, of course, no? I would be curious about what that was. And so I would research in the background. And as I would research about it, I would realize that, hey, man, this reads like it's me. This here, being capable, being smart, né? Being above average in some kind of way. But then there's a strangeness about being smart and being gifted mentally, where, especially in a society where if you don't get spotted as a child pretty early and it be noticed how you move, you may find yourself paying more attention to the negative aspects of this gift. So ADHD minds are brains that are quite fast, quite gifted. They are people who become smart in school. They are the wacky kids who are nerdy and have those personality types who don't, really have much of a style on the outside. Really, the style and the appearance doesn't really say much, but I'm just describing nerds, dweebs, and those kind of people who just don't seem socially what? Socially connected. They are working but then they are smart, bro. Have you ever noticed, did you notice when you were in school that it was the kid who wasn't cool, who was smart? The hot girl in school, the ones who look good, put on lip gloss, that one wasn't smart. Why is the world fixed like that? Why is the cool dude, the one with the girls, quite often not into the smart guy as well? The smart one is the fat one over there, is the one with the pimply face over there, and all of those things. You understand? And so, yes. Somebody, the Noble Nitpicker gave it to me quite nicely there. It says, actually, socially awkward, but clever. Exactly. You understand? So, that's how I grew up, and I was never spotted and understood. And so, with this being gifted and being smart, the brain, ADHD, gets tired. You see, people who experience burnout quite a lot are people with ADHD. People who procrastinate quite a lot have ADHD. So it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's a lack of, attention connecting, and it's hyperactivity as well. So that mainly manifests in kids, but adults who grow up with ADHD, the hyperactivity kind of goes away. The moving around, the being naughty, the climbing walls and whatever, that manifestation goes away, but it goes somehow internally and it turns into creativity. You see, and so it becomes this brain that is full of ideas. So ADHD people will become scientists. The mathematicians are ADHD. The people who are caring, humanitarians, ne, are ADHD. So ADHD people are compassionate as well. You see, that one is not a mental trait as much, and it wasn't a career. It wasn't on a list of career. But people who are humanitarians, people who are actual politicians, one told, not these ones who are politicians for the stomach. Those who would want to actually make a society well, who are feeling for the people, would be the ADHD people. You see, those who would dive out of aeroplanes and be daredevils are ADHD, because the brain is lacking dopamine. The single issue difference with an ADHD brain from a normal brain, and this being called a neuroatypical brain. So there are people who are neurotypical. So ingqondo standard that everyone has functioning kahle. And then there are those who are neuroatypical. So their neural pathways and the lights and electricity, how it flows in a not so typical way. And so it doesn't mean that it's a damaged brain and what so forth. It just means that if you did electricity or in science and whatever, and you remember two types of connections, serial and parallel, you know that Christmas trees are a serial connection. The electricity just flows in one direction. You know, it's for simple connections in the house. But if you want a complex connection in the house, it's usually a parallel connection where electricity is able to go one taller off this branch, you know, off ramp, and go onto another one and hop back, etc. So neuroatypical brains are pretty much that. So I came to realize that I'm suffering quite a lot. Before I got depressed, my first real and major depression in 2018, I was somebody who's, you know, operating well, achieving things, daring, you know, running a business at that time. 2018, I was 28. So by then, I had been somebody who's traveling up and down between South Africa and China for 2 or 3 years. But I had been running an import business for probably 8 years at that point. And so things were progressing, things were going well in my life. I was, you know, in the midst of a business before the Timus hit South Africa and the market changed so much. Being able to go to China and operate that kind of business where you find a product, you take a risk, you put money in, you pay and make transactions. Before transactions were this simple, back when transactions were quite difficult, you know, you go over to China, you navigate around in a country where they don't speak English, and then you now make your way and you find a way to interpret via a phone. You want the man, Yager. So you go to factories, you inspect the products being produced, you actually watch some of them being loaded into boxes there that have your company name on them. You know, that was me. That's what I was doing. You know, the boxes are getting packed and I'm about to get on a plane, head back to South Africa, and in a couple of weeks, those products will be shipped in a container, which will ship from Hong Kong there to Durban. And then when they arrive at Durban, there's clearing, there's declaration, there's things that you need to do, there's tax reference numbers and importers codes that you need to give. You need to do everything, and then your goods are loaded on a truck. That truck then comes to Gauteng over here, and then those products are unpacked. We hire a storage place, you pack them in there, and then you close them at night, and then you go to a mall, you negotiate rental in the passages there. You know, they give you their specifications about how everything should look and how you should put it together. and you meet the standards. You've got displays that are really dope and acceptable and pleasing in a mall, because malls have standards. Then you put your products out there, got your speed point, my brother, hooked up to a bank and whatsoever, ready to collect money, swipe, explain product, whatever. All of that I was pretty much doing during that time. But then I would fall into a depression and I would have to lie down for like 6 months where I was just KO. I was out, And then after that, I felt like getting up again, I felt like picking up my life. But I would find that it's extremely difficult now. Getting on a laptop, and that fire was now gone. You see, that happiness, that belief that I can make it, I can get this money. No, it wasn't available anymore. Things were much more difficult. My brain wasn't connecting. For the first time now, out of high school and into the free world, existing as an adult, I'm starting to panic. This panic that I was experiencing was a panic that I experienced when I was in grade 11 and in matric. When I was realizing that, bruh, I remember starting out as a kid in life being an A student when I was younger. I was an A student. But of course, it was a Kasi primary. I went to a township primary, all mile primary, from grade 1 to grade 7, and then went to a white high school. So I was an A student there, but I would realize when I got to high school that, this A yagolegation in here, bruh, is actually a C in the suburbs, bruh. Woo! White kids have internet. When we're sent on research projects, they come with them typed, looking nice, whatever. Now I came, pasting things from the newspaper. They dragged and dropped their things over there and they're getting better marks. And that's where I would start having an inferiority complex. And that would affect me. Of course, also during that time, around about grade 10, my parents would get DSTV for the very first time. And around about that same time, I would also get a phone with internet. My mom would get me a phone on contract. And I would fall into an addiction to pornography. You know what I'm saying? So there was pornography. There was watching a hell of a lot of TV and movies now because we got DSTV. And there was also a PlayStation. You see, I had one, a PS2, that I had hacked, chipped, if you know what that is, so that you can play games that are copied, pirated. So I was deep into piracy in all forms. I was a pirate, my brother, a very big one. You understand? And on PC now with internet access, I was always a digital kid. So now that was in high school. You see, all of these things, my parents had to get them and have them in the home because I was in a white school where the kids have these things and they are smarter because of them. Sometimes the school actually gives projects and work where they say, go watch this channel. We are studying Macbeth currently and there's a Macbeth movie on DSTV. So go check that out. So I'd be coming to my parents saying, yo, Pella, we need internet, we need DSTV, we need a phone. I also have to have a phone like the white kids, you know what I'm saying? So I can do schoolwork, but I would end up doing pornography in there. And I also need a PlayStation because my friends are cool and, the PC that you bought me is not performing enough to play video games, so maybe a separate device that can play that and then this one can rest. And my mom would say, all right, fine. But my dad would have a problem with it. So during that time, being distracted now, being so consumed by the internet, by the digital, I would lose focus on school and I would see my marks drop. And in grade 11, I would nearly fail. I actually got condoned to go to matric, bruh. And in matric, I would try to pick up my pens. But all of grade 11 and 12, I was now living with nightmares constantly. Nightmares about failing. I would constantly be in a dream where I find myself in an exam room where I've studied absolutely nothing and the whole exam paper doesn't mean anything at all. It's hieroglyphics. I can't read it. Or I enter an exam room, or I enter the dream and I'm in an exam room where I'm naked and I have absolutely no confidence. So I would now go to school thinking about this dream, and it would affect me very much. Plus, I'm not that smart kid anymore. I'm a black kid in a white school. White kids are doing much smarter, much better resourced. But, with my parents' help, we're really trying to catch up, but I'm now distracted. So I would feel this panic sometime in high school, which I would get over after I managed to pass matric. So I ended up now going through high school without failing or nothing, but my marks would be ones that are low, not enabling me to go straight up, register for a degree or whatnot. So I had to do a 6-month course with UNISA. Then I registered with UNISA to study my BCom. I would do 1 year and pass. But in the second year, I would leave that because back in high school, I had already started importing my first goods. So in grade 10, when I had my first phone with internet, I managed to import a package of memory cards. When people were having V360s, I had a Samsung D500. I bought memory cards because I knew those things were in demand, and I managed to be able to supply some stall at East Rand Mall there. They became my customers and I made some first money at 15. Importing a box of goods that got delivered there. So when I was now in UNISA, I felt like, bro, I'm letting go of money. There's this education structure where you need to study for like 3 years and whatever. Yo, here are comments. Y'all are commenting, sorry. I'm not able to read them right now because I got these shades on, man. I'm feeling hella emotional and I don't want to take them off. And I realized that the laptop is small. Usually people who are streaming have another monitor where they can see the chat fully stretched out. So I'm kind of having to lean back and forth and I might disturb these cables. You know what I'm saying? So I would now decide that, I'm not going to stick around for 3 years trying to do or study business while I can do it, you see, while I've made some money. At 17, 18, 19, I was a young dude who's already attending business expos. There would be networking. There was some networking group called EBI. They used to have functions and events here at the airport. What is this? Empress Palace, So my dad would go there and he would take me along. So I would see these things where people were handing each other business cards. But that was before people everyone had a cell phone. So when I was around about 12, my dad was taking me to these events and I would see people exchanging business cards, my father going home and now sitting on the phone calling those people back, trying to create friendships and links with them. So when I became a student in varsity, I had some experience and some know-how about how business people move, and I felt like school ain't gonna do this, It's not gonna work out, so I dropped out. And when I dropped out, I pursued business. I hustled. I sold phones. I sold laptops. I sold PlayStations. Being a digital kid, knowing these things, knowing them as far as to, be a serious pirate with, barking key gens and, hacks and jailbreaks on phones and consoles. I knew so much about these devices. I was selling them. At that point, the whole import business had kind of gone down a little bit. I was making enough money locally to not even have to continue with that business. So, hey, it seemed like I had made a good choice. I dropped out and became quite moneyed as a young dude. That's how now selling goods to people via both junk mail and OLX and Gumtree, I would now discover Take-A-Lot. When Take-A-Lot first started, I knew it. Before, there was a time where Take-A-Lot, before like they really became a brand like that, I was looking for a 27-inch monitor with high frame rate. Back in the days, and you were able to write them an email and say, I'm requesting a particular product like this. I think the name might have even been Take-Two, because Take-Two is the company that owns Take-A-Lot. Think way back then. I think it was actually before Kalahari.net. If you remember Kalahari.net, I think they emerged or were bought by Take-A-Lot, or Kalahari.net changed its name, whatever. There was a linking of the two, because I remember those two being two platforms. I used to buy books on Kalahari.net. Fresh out of high school, I would buy books there. I bought my first book, Think and Grow Rich. So my first book was about getting rich. You understand? I was a focused young dude. I'm going to get to the depression and where all of this falls apart, and I realize that I have ADHD. You see? So I'm high functioning. I'm capable. I've discovered now Take-A-Lot, which I had known about from the time they bought Kalahari and launched as Take-A-Lot as one unified platform. And I realized that, okay, you can become a seller over there. And at that time, I'm selling on Gumtree, and I was like, okay, let me start this. And then let's get products from China then, because I can't be selling these second-hand goods that I'm selling on there. Let me find some product. So that's how things would move, and everything would just come together. Time and opportunity, experience invested, everything working out for me. Even during that time, I'm now starting to learn skills in Photoshop. You see, I've bought myself a Mac, and I'm learning to do some, flyers nyana, banners, on the top and the bottom for documents, letterheads, getting to grips with everything, building my craft as an entrepreneur. And then 2018, bruh, I won't mention this part about why I got into depression. I'll completely skip that part. But that depression would put me down for 6 to 8 months. Also, okay, hey, it's very hard to skip some parts. Part of my depression was because I had been in a business partnership where friends would decide to bail, dip with the business, make decisions on their own, on their side, and be separate from me. And I was, of course, entering a depression because of the main issue. So as I was starting to crumble and I was suffering, I'm a young dude with some resources and skills going up and down to China. Everything should be well from me. For me, I'm a good dude, but I would find myself challenged by people. Or it's at a point in time in my life where I'm, meeting a woman. I've got a son during that time as well. I've got a young boy. And as I'm now starting to struggle to cope with in-laws, having a child, having a woman, friends as well would just decide to scram and, shine a current. It's time to go to New York. You understand? So I would fall into a serious depression because of these two main issues. And then when I would try to come out of it, this conversation with a brother about ADHD and how they're busy giving out these pills, to kids, and he believes in homeopathic remedies. I would have that conversation with him, but not know what ADHD is. But when I went and researched, I would realize that, oh, wait up, bro. I've never experienced falling and collapsing like this and being so low and having a mind so heavy. This feels like more than anything. I mean, I remember that I've done great things. I should be able to pick myself right out of it. Why am I struggling? Why does it feel like my memory got wiped or reset? What is going on? You understand? So I would find out that I'm ADHD and I would come across this channel over here. Let me read the comments right quick. I'm sure you also favor Pirates. No. Hey, I'm not a soccer fan. I should pick a team that I'm going to be favoring, you know. I grew up with a dad who has chosen Kaizer Chiefs and, you know, I was like, we're Kaizer Chiefs fans, but I really should make my own decision. Do you say it should be Orlando Pirates? Are you an Orlando Pirates fan? Maybe I might. What's their performance currently? I ain't watch at all. See, porn is a problem, especially in the teen years. Good thing you are opening up about this. I too had that issue. What do you take for it? For ADHD. So, we're here now. Here is methylphenidate. Methylphenidate, aka Ritalin. That is the British and South African name for this stuff. Oh yeah, finally we focused. So, that there is methylphenidate. Let me make it bigger, yeah. That is exactly what I take. That is Ritalin. Methylphenidate apparently being a sister or close chemical compound relative to actual crystal meth. I don't know. It's rumored to be that way. They say just look at the name. But then somebody else who will actually show you the structure of crystal meth and methylphenidate will actually show you that there's a small similarity but a very big difference, because in the world of these chemicals, their structures may look slightly the same, and of course, when consumed, experiences might be slightly the same, but there's a serious difference. But in any case, that may be people who are trying to defend the legal dealing of drugs, because this is a drug. Hospitals are drug dealing. Liquor stores are drug stores over there. It's all chemicals for the mind, you see. There's drugs that are allowed to be sold with a particular license. So these are entertainment drugs. And then there are actual drugs that go directly to the mind. And so, almost the system has created a situation where this is a Schedule 6 drug. I think this is the highest levels. The amount of security and scrutiny that I go through to be able to get this is not a joke. Oh, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. They don't play around to give you these. And so, that is why. Thank you for snapping me out of the long backstory, the background of what has happened. It is today now that I had to go and stock up on these. I had to go and get my prescription again because I've been managing without them. I've learned to time myself and be strict on myself. And as long as I do something that I enjoy, which is repeatable, I'm able to just be fine without it. But there are times where there's a lot of distraction, a lot of stress, where I now start to procrastinate and jigga, and I don't do the things that I have to do. Plus, they give me these, and sleep pills. Yeah? And so with these pills, I'm going to explain to you the emotions that I was going through today. I started now remembering all of the disrespect and the opportunism that I saw people trying to take when me, a black man who has properly went and handed himself over to a psychologist. So I went there, I researched about this, and I found out that, bruh, all of the evidence of who you are when you were young, being able to be confident that, but then sucking at certain things, finding yourself being an exceptionally good gamer. That's one of the things that will actually reveal you. If you are somebody who plays games and you've got friends who play games, you will see skill levels and abilities to solve puzzles, because that's what games are. You will see that, no, this brother is the best among us. He's good. He's smart. But then you'd find that somebody who's so dope at playing video games and solving those puzzles would go and struggle in school, etc. But then that ability to play games would allow them after school, if they are not discouraged or told that they are stupid, if it is understood why they struggle, perhaps they struggle because their mind is not tuning in. It is ADHD, or sometimes they're struggling because you play too much video games. There has to be proper diagnosis from a psychologist. That kid may go on to start a game studio or be a creative. You see how ballers and basketball players and people who play golf, Cristiano Ronaldo, those guys ended school in grade 5, man. But they're making money and it's an actual life. A Joe Rogan, a successful podcaster there, bruh, probably doing millions, much more than somebody who's got a PhD. So academics, bruh, we've lived life long enough, and we are in a digital era where we are able to see that, no, bruh, no longer should it be manual labor or cognitive labor. You don't only need a strong back to do hard labor and a dope academic brain. There's creative brains as well. And so you can do that and be extremely successful. Grand Theft Auto is the biggest piece of media that has ever been sold, beyond all movies ever made. And so we are expecting Grand Theft Auto 6, and man, I don't have a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 6 to be able to hop onto that. What a shame, because I've been playing Grand Theft Auto since Grand Theft Auto 2. Oh my goodness. For over 20 years playing that game. Amazing. So anyway, where was I? Let me drink some soda, yo. Let me drink some soda. I'm running so dry. So when a black man like me went to a psychologist and I said, yo, bro, look, I remember myself being excellent. I remember myself being capable. I was going up and down on Airbus jets, landing in foreign countries, navigating around, booking hotels, doing complex things. But now I'm totally useless. I've fallen off, Joe, mentally. And I hear that people who are ADHD tend to stick longer in depression. So sometimes you must analyze yourself. You must really know who you are and check, man, if you are ADHD, man. So ADHD people will wallow longer at the bottom. And so you find yourself being unable to come out. You need some help. And so that help, my brah, would be Ritalin. I would be given this stuff and I would wake up. The return of the king. That's where it will all start. So prior to taking Ritalin, I was a smart guy. But my life since being on Ritalin, I can see the changes. I can really see the changes. Do you know that Ritalin, Adderall in the United States, is called a Schedule 6 drug? Ne? Comments. It's called, no, it's not called a, what am I saying? It's called a smart drug. Yes, it's a Schedule 6 drug for people who are diagnosed with ADHD, mainly as children, but also as adults. But this is the most abused drug by students because it's called a smart drug. Why is it called that? Because it has the effect of making you smart, even if you're not ADHD. The kind of focus and concentration that comes out of this is supernatural. Normal people do not concentrate at the levels that Adderall can get you. No, you can't. I'm telling you, for sure. You cannot. You will be able to do your work, of course, if it's simple and repeatable and what so forth. But if it's complex, if it needs, different thinking caps, if it needs analysis, if it needs creativity, if it needs actual labor, if it needs numbers, if you have to switch up, go this way and that way, no, I'm telling you, you'll be one who delegates things off because you reach a point where you become overwhelmed. But with this stuff right here, man, you go somewhere. That's why people get A's. There is a way. You see how people take steroids for winning bodybuilding contests. You see how people take sports enhancement drugs, Maradona, to be able to run on the field and have, all sorts of things. There's a steroid for the brain. Many of you, or many people out there, are lacking smarts because you don't have the aid, the chemicals to get you there. And a lot of white kids, kids of psychiatrists and doctors who've studied the mind, kids in Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, Yale, all of these places, UC California, Berkeley, these prestigious places, the kids there are taking some brain enhancement drugs. I'm telling you, brilliance and smarts can be gotten from inside some chemicals. You understand what I'm saying? So I would get on these. I would gain my life, my concentration. I would start now being able to focus, make plans, execute them. And of course, when the pill wears out, you can feel that you're going back to normal. That's the miracle. That's the funny thing about it. When you're off them, you can feel it. You can feel. You try to be in that state, but you cannot. That's why I'm telling you, Gary, many people do not have the full thinking and concentrating capacity that is available to the human mind. You are operating at mortal levels. These are supernatural levels. And so I'm telling you, I'm a product. I've been built partly. My character, the shape of my mind, quite a lot has been because of being now on this stuff for roughly 5 years. I've been on these for 5 years. So, as I was discovering these things, I would come across this channel over here. What is ADHD? There's a lady there who is ADHD, who talks about all aspects about ADHD people, ADHD business people, why ADHD brains love business, the thrill of pursuing money, capitalism, creativity. What happens when you're ADHD and you're dating? You see, how will you feel and process certain feelings as an ADHD person? You see, what will your empathy do in a relationship when you're ADHD? You see, how will you be used and have your emotions toyed around with when you're ADHD? You see, burnout. You see, how to take Ritalin or other homeopathic drugs like weed. She would talk about all of these things. And so I would come across this channel, and realize that, no, man. And I would see TED Talks, you see, here. This same lady here, this one, from 7 years ago. I watched this video when it was just 1 year old on TED. And she runs this channel here, How to ADHD. So I would consume a lot of the content, and I would join communities. I would see a lot of people in the comments say that they're ADHD. I would come across movie producers, I would come across business people giving talks, being thankful for having ADHD and being thankful for coming to grips with it and being able to manage it and live with it. You get what I'm saying? So, being in these communities, my confidence would be lifted. I would realize who I was as a child and the feelings of confidence and strength and ability that I had. I would now see how in high school, a drop in my confidence and a distraction by pornography and games and all of that affected my school ability, my ability to concentrate in school and all of those things. I would now see how I picked my confidence up and how I was able to run business straight out of high school and become moneyed myself and be a different dude in the hood, bruh. Through and through, finish and clear. You understand? Now I stay in town. Been living here for a couple of years since I got married and I got kids and a family over here. But I was that guy in the hood, mfana, who is focused, you understand? I went to a white high school and I saw how people are doing better and bigger things. And I realized that I need to step my game up. So I would realize how post high school, without having a job and dropping out of school, I was able to, be ambitious, be confident. And I would realize how the depression and a drop in confidence also dropped my mental capacity as well. And I would realize how I stayed in depression and I wasn't able to and jumpstart myself again. And I would realize from a lot of people that, hey, man, yo, nigga, you done experienced that? You done felt that? You went through that as well? Oh, bruh, you're with me. I feel you. And so when I started now being open about mental health and giving testimony to how my mind had been saved by going to a hospital, by going to the psychiatric MOPD, actually. It's not the psychiatric ward. You go to a psychiatrist. Firstly, you can't go straight to a psychiatrist and say you're ADHD. So I went there and I explained to a psychologist. I said, yo, bro, I got issues. Ne? And I went to Tembisa Hospital, which is where I still go till today. What people don't know and the rumors that are out there about government facilities, hey, I live in a different reality because my mother was a manager at that hospital. You see, she retired a couple of years ago, but I was a small kid going in and out of Tembisa Hospital. You see, playing around. You see, going with her on Saturdays sometimes. Before we had a computer in the house, I got to learn about computers from her workplace. So she would take me there and there were computers that were not used. And I would actually take some and learn to open them and see that this is a hard drive. This is the RAM. You see, go research and find out that, okay, if I want to watch TV inside a computer, I'd have to go get something called a TV card. That thing allows you to take the aerial, and be able to plug it into a computer because the computer doesn't come with a component allowing that. So I would become a digital kid at those early days from Tembisa Hospital, and then I would visit my mother very often over there and get to see how the hospital operates, and I would have no fear about it. So when I went there, I had been seeing that, the doctors and the staff is actually people from vets, bruh. Like, they're always wearing things from UP. It's these white beautiful girls, it's these black beautiful girls. It's these, tall black brothers, who gone to university. And I realized, no, man, there's rumors made about government facilities and everybody thinks that doctors there are fakes and low quality, like Dr. Matthews. Remember that guy? Remember that guy who was giving medical advice, etc., and claiming that he's working at a hospital or something like that, and he's now suing newspapers and the department for defaming his name whatsoever. No, bruh. Tembisa Hospital is clean, ne? Especially this area where people go in just to consult and sit in front of a psychologist, a psychiatrist. You get written a script and then you go straight to the pharmacy. There's this quick express in and out system that happens over there. So I took myself there and told the psychologist, yo, I'm not able to get up. And it was a good, tall, handsome vendor dude, you see, by the name of Dr. Who is that guy? I can't remember his name. So I would have like 4 visits where he would inquire me about my stage in life. Where am I? What am I doing? Do I have a partner? Am I supported? Am I earning properly? The marriage itself, is it flowing? Is it well? Family members. And there I would start to unpack some things. And of course, we would diagnose the depression. And then I would be put on depression medication. I would be put on fluoxetine, antidepressant, also known as Prozac in the United States. That's the name, the same chemical. Here we call it fluoxetine. There they call it Prozac. So I would, pretty much get on that, and I would feel what it's like to be aided by meds, by depression meds, but it wasn't really doing much for me. I would take them and try to work, but things were just still didn't happen. They just weren't happening. And so at that point in time, I was so desperate to come out of this ADHD that I was actually buying CBD. I actually have like a bottle nyana that I found at Clicks for 60 Rand. It was being sold for 200. They marked it down. So CBD oil, these channels here had taught me that another path to trying to find concentration is CBD. But if CBD don't work, you need to get on Ritalin instead. Otherwise, your life will collapse. So CBD was still relatively new. The government had not started funding small businesses locally to have legal licenses to distribute it. You understand? And so it was being sold for like 1,500, a small bottle like this with only 30 servings. So I would chop that, put it in, try it out, and it didn't work. And so I would keep on telling the psychologist what it is I am taking and how I'm trying to heal myself. And so I would be on antidepressants for a while, but I was still not able to jumpstart myself. And so he would now refer me to the psychiatrist. And now going to the psychiatrist, you find now white guys, you see, from UP, Afrikaners, you see, in Tembisa Hospital. And now they're asking me, what's up? And I'm telling them. I'm showing them my scripts from, the psychologist, Dr. Willie. And a psychologist called doctors. Because I think Dr. Willie, I remember him saying, don't call me a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Psychologists are not that. I don't remember. It's like psychiatrists who said that. Wait, I don't know. Let me not get that twisted or confused. So I would get referred to the psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist would, for the first time, hit me with that stuff. And I would get on it, and my life would change. And I would understand the testimonies of people who have said, yo, I got on Ritalin and I got so much better. Yo, I got on this, on this Adderall, and I got to do my test immediately. I take it upon waking up, and then I just zone in immediately. I just want to sit down. I just want to do my work and be efficient. And so with that victory, me being a black guy, Utiaka, having taken myself to a hospital where there's a lot of stigma around mental health, where there's stigma around psychology and psychiatrics, where people think that you're just crazy, I would embrace that and give testimony of it, and my problems would begin now, where people would start trying to circumvent me because I've testified that I'm a mental patient of some sort. They would completely forget that my issue is concentration. I have absolutely no issue or no history of spinning out of control, losing my mind, being temperamental, whatsoever. None whatsoever. I took myself to this institution for my concentration, and now I've solved it, and I'm encouraging other people to go and get themselves checked out. Bruh. Stigmas of black people. People believing that psychology and psychiatry is all just madness. I would now face some serious disrespect, and people would now just try to take chances around my life, bro. When people were undermining my intelligence, when people were looking past who I am and the gift that God has given me and the ability that I've been faithful to serve Him with, their core baseline and reasoning, the gap that they were looking for and thinking that they had found or I had exposed to them, was my mental condition. A condition of lacking concentration. That's it. But people would think that I'm some kind of crazy. And I've realized that, this has not been a easy, straightforward journey. As I was going to go and get these meds, I know how they have helped me and worked for me. But I came to reflect on how a number of chance takers, bro. You know how in black societies as well, I wouldn't call this super intelligence, but raw intelligence that is visible and outstanding. But again, the first needle to rise, you see, it is believed that that person is going to get struck by a hammer of witchcraft. You've heard that, you know about that. And so when you're bright and coming up, instead of, people close to you wishing you on, when they hear your ideas being so bright and they're actually hearing you crack the base of your problems and finally master them with the help of drugs that help and make you excel, and they actually see you excel. They're like, nah, we know that smart people go crazy. And now that he's now going to the hospital, really, it does seem like he's about to spin and go off the rails. And so I would now face a whole lot of disrespect. So I'm telling you, I'm revealing to you that you, as you come across me and you meet me here on this platform via these cameras, etc., speaking the issue that I speak on, a lot of you, I thank you very much. You are respectful. You see, you join, you show your support, you lift me. But if you ever wondered who am I and what do people perceive me as in my actual circle, I don't have a circle of friends and whatnot anymore, but many who are around me hate to see me and perceive me and acknowledge me as somebody who is smart and capable of navigating life. No. They want to see me as crazy, and they're stuck to that. So while you are appreciating, enjoying, there are people who are watching right now saying, he's going crazy on camera right there, right now. My openness, they think that I'm just mad and culturally inappropriate. I don't know how to act like a petty man who is conserved. You see, they'll say, this liberal new style of his, is the madness itself. A man like him, who's got a father, who's a pastor, who's conservative, look how different he is from his dad. Is that crazy? Is that madness? That's how people would like to interpret me. And where do they get that all from? They get that from me opening up and sharing stories about me being ADHD, me tracking it, solving it, patching it up, and me finding my way forward. Those people seeing how I'm being stabilized and helped. They've helped me a lot, but I'm still very much self-driven, capable. I was capable before I got on these. Noting that I'm on some drugs and, I'm somebody who lives life with some assistance. There would be people who try to screw with my mind, screw with my emotions, try to destabilize me, try to trigger me and make me seem crazy so that they can talk among each other in the background and say, yo, you even know he's a psychiatric patient. It's this. His mind is overloaded. Disrespect. I'm 35 years old. I'm a full-grown male. I've decided a life nyana in the creative. Back then I used to wear suits doing business. I haven't let go of suits. I'm still me. There's still a formality. I've grown my hair because it's winter. If I look funny, that don't mean nothing. I'm an adult. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm ADHD. I struggle to concentrate and that's it. So I don't understand. Maybe it's because of how I look, the things that I do, and the testimonies that I've given. But I'm sick of the nonsense. I'm sick of the rubbish. I really am. I'm sick of people who, when I say I'm ADHD, they try to say I'm a psychotic or a psychopath. Some have tried to call me a sociopath. They say I'm so smart and so planning and so cunning that I might go to degrees of planning violence and somebody might die, like I'm some kind of close or in the vicinity of serial killer, that I should be looked at. Yo, bro, like the rumors and nonsense made up about me because of this revelation are crazy. Stupid. And so I wanted to open up about that strangeness that I just can't really understand why people have decided to go that kind of direction. You see. Then it's going to be like, he's flexing, talking himself up and whatnot. And I just hate that. And I felt like sharing it. And so we're going to maybe hop on to a video. They're called Colonel Chris Wyatt. No, not Colonel Chris Wyatt. Musk versus Trump. I watched the video. There's more videos being made about that. And this one looks documentary format, really dope. As we continue asking the question to Colonel Chris Wyatt about what will unfold as Trump and Musk fight like this. What impact will that have on this Afrikaner and minorities refugee settlement program? What will happen? So I thank you for listening to me and giving me your ear. You can see Dr. Andrew Huberman over there, bruh. A video with close to 7 million. A very hot topic, this one. Go watch this and come back, really. Tell me why you think ADHD is some kind of crazy. You know, why you think niloiwe? Culturally, something has happened, you know, to me. I don't know why people play around like this. So, next one, guy, what do you take for it? I'm not a soccer fan. I favor Sundowns out of rebellion. I wasn't close with my father growing up, and he was a Chiefs fan. Oh, man. Yeah, it's addictive, I've heard. Of course, there are some people, Kingsley, 96, who will, especially the 30 milligrams. So these are 10 milligrams. So one is supposed to take 3 a day. You split them up. But there's one that comes as 30 milligrams. That one is a capsule with a powder in it. So that one, people will actually pop that capsule open and snort it. So Ritalin can be taken, barking when you inhale something. Nasal, what, intra, I don't know. Because I'm thinking intramuscular injection. So you see the steroids, as I was mentioning, sports enhancement. There was a point in my life where I was hitting the gym so hard that I actually took the steroids. Yeah, I actually took the steroids injection, where you break a capsule, you suck the the roids, and you stick it in your bum, bruh. And you have to target the muscle. And then inject it in there. That's called an intramuscular injection, where you inject into the muscle, and then the chemical has a half-life, apparently of 7 days, meaning that as you inject it today, in 7 days, there will be half of it left in your system. And in the next 7 days, there will be half of that. And in the next 7 days, there will be half of that. In the next 7 days. So the drug takes a long time to kind of taper down in your system. And so knowing how long it lasts and where it is in your system as it goes down, you continually inject yourself to keep it at a certain life in relation with the half-life that it lasts. So just talking here about, I hope YouTube doesn't get angry at this content. We're talking about drugs. So now people can take Ritalin and snort it. So yeah, that's what's up. It is addictive. People, apparently some will even party with it. Nah? The noble nitpicker. So the pills help with focus. Definitely. 1000%. Yeah, most times these things are misunderstood, especially in the black community. Thank you for recognizing that, man. Thank you. You sell PS5s though. Yeah, look, selling them. Nah, I do. But I haven't sold them at enough quantities to allow me to own one, because I intend to be, I played a lot of PlayStation growing up. I sell a lot of devices that I don't own myself. Yeah? And my intention is to become properly successful, fulfilled, and for PlayStation to be something no longer is justified. Right now, I'm in the fight of my life. If I was to start playing PlayStation, remembering high school and the distractions, I would allow myself to be distracted by it, so I wouldn't be here. So I can sell these things, man, and own none. I own cameras. I own media. I own a whole lot of that. For us to own interactive media, gaming as well. Nah. That'll be a bit too much. Nah. And so, Nkombo T says, Noble Nitpicker, if you really wanted to piss him off, you should have been a Pirates fan. Oh, you mean his dad? And then Kingsley, playing till exhaustion as a kid helped regulate my ADHD. Yo, so your ADHD, did you regulate it with any substances? Did you ever smoke weed? Did you ever take pills? Did you ever drink liquor? Because a lot of people who are drinking are ADHD as well. Not a lot, but ADHD has its people. But there are people who can understand their addiction and they are leaning towards substances like alcohol. There are people who apparently, I don't drink. I don't drink. Ne? But I've been able to, at some point, sometimes, with the freedom of being an adult, to just play around a little bit, sip a little bit, just to feel what it's like to be on it. And actually found that on the liquor, I concentrate. I actually become as silent and my mind zoned in as it is with the Ritalin. So if you've heard of functioning alcoholics, people who have lebotolonyana in here or somebody who will pour brandy in their coffee, and that person just has this, low down mood, low down personality. That's because that person is half drunk, half concentrated. They are coping and the liquor is doing it for them. That person needs Ritalin. So have you ever been on any other substances? And so, next one. Sure, Mkombo, you are correct. But there's a reason I went with Sundowns instead. Remember to hit the like button. You have our support, Chief. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Noble Nutpicker. And thank you for tuning in and giving me your input on your experience as well, Kingsley, regarding your ADHD. So let us watch this recent video. I haven't been on YouTube today. Went and got some meds, so you can see today only watched one and only watched it for a small bit because it was cracking me up as I start to watch it, because I remember that Pella Colonel Chris White is going to have to do some goalkeeping over here. You know what I'm saying? So let's watch a CNBC television special for 7 minutes on the Trump versus Musk. It's a catch up on how things came to be this way, the rise and fall.
I'll be back here fight harder.
Let's take it back to the beginning.
President Trump, he's just been departing the White House. He has some comments that were taped as he was leaving. Here's what he has to say.
It's an East Coast version, and it should be very exciting, very good. Worked very hard on it with Ron and everybody, and I think it's going to be great. And then I'll be back here fighting for the bill, and I hear it's going okay. We'll move it along. But we'll be back here pretty early.
What do you think the president on the bill? You've been warning some Republicans not to go too crazy with the cuts. Are there parts of the bill or amendments that you think cut too much?
We're going to have to see the final version. I don't want to go too crazy with cuts. I don't like cuts. There are certain things that have been cut, which is good. I think we're doing well. We're going to have to see. It's very complicated stuff. Great enthusiasm, as you know. And I think in the end we're going to have it. What do you think, Caroline? Yeah, I think
no way, hold up.
Such a hard time.
Hold up, nah. This not it. This not it. This not the one. But let me do this. While you watch Colonel Chris there from the previous day, I just gotta move this window over here and maybe switch over my channel, and I have to do that offside there so you don't know what other YouTube channels I have.
I'll be back here fighting for the bill, and I hear it's going okay.
And then go into the history of that other channel. So like I've got a bunch of YouTube channels, and I just had to click over here and press switch channel. So if I had done it on screen, some of you would have found my propaganda channels out there. You know what I'm saying? So, no. How do I piece this? No, get away from me. Hey. Let me position you then. So, let's get into the history there. And the video is titled Donald Trump versus Elon Musk. What does their fallout mean for the world? 60 Minutes Australia brings us this special. So before jumping into that, I see Kingsley has responded there. Let me check it out. So Kingsley, you say, Noble Nitpicker, you have our support. I thank you, na? And no, I took nothing, and in high school, weed did not work, and drinking would help, but I'm not the drinking type. Dope. I'm glad things have gone that way with you, ne? Next question that I have, did the people around you show this stigmatism at all? Did you have people who found out what your brain is like and that you are neuroatypical? And what has it manifested in? Have you seen, do you have an ADHD personality? Because it manifests in eccentricity and hopapa, butacharach, but talk too much, like me. Or maybe you don't have this type of ADHD because they say there's two types. There's the hyperactive and the non-hyperactive. And these pills are habit forming and character forming. You can turn into a different person from taking these. So maybe you ain't taking them. Tell me about your journey. Stigma, personality, what's the reaction been from people around you? Chris Wyatt is serious about his propaganda. He's always wearing something from or about South Africa. It's almost at an obsessive level, indeed. Yo, I need to find a bigger screen for the chat, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the greatest capitalist in the history of the United States of America, Elon Musk.
Those are the days.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Nice to meet you guys. Coming often?
X, are you okay?
From the beginning, I knew that this was going to come a cropper pretty quickly.
Yo, hold up, sorry. Stop. You know what I should do? Let me utilize tonight and I was intending to just stream this and not re-upload it, not cut it up, not do any editing like I did with yesterday's stream. I called now Chris. I just let it go on as a stream as is. But I think tomorrow I should upload a video because the uploads get referred more. The streams you have to build up. You see, as you guys support and you comment there in the chat, YouTube now starts to realize that what I'm streaming is worth showing to people, and so gradually I get referred to more people and they see us reacting and more joy. And so this is a completely new thing to build up. I need to keep on serving the normal video. So let me shoot a video. You are with me, Sisebenza Sonke in studio. You know almost how the business operates over here. Hey, yo, what's up? Back at you with another video. Just the other day, we were on a stream and we're looking at Colonel Chris Wyatt and a video that he made very recently. It was about the feud between Elon Musk and Trump, a video from about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, when they had that initial fight where Elon Musk said that Trump is a file that is in the Epstein files. You remember that? So Colonel Chris Wyatt would come and bring comfort to the Amerikaners and those who are local still seeking to go over to the United States on this Afrikaner refugee program. He would come in and say to them, yo, everything is chilled, everything is fine. And we had a look at that video yesterday to see how those words have aged now that Elon Musk and Trump are fighting again. Is everything stable? Is he talking about that, or is he talking about South Africa more and more in order to distract himself? So we checked that stream yesterday. If you are here with us, thank you for joining us. If you're here again, you are moving with the lifetimes. Sometimes if you watch the content in bits and pieces, you may miss out on some stuff, but those who come in and watch the streams and contribute, I love you and thank you very much. We are together on this. I missed out on posting that video, but this one I'm going to be posting. So we are getting into this one. We're going to be tracking the rift, the split of Elon Musk and Trump, and we're constantly going to be looking at America and Colonel Chris Wyatt in the same way that Colonel Chris Wyatt is constantly looking at South Africa and Ramaphosa. So Colonel Chris Wyatt is president of the United States, and we are looking at his country constantly, and we are asking, yo, cut the nonsense. Do things like this. What about like this? What is your excuse for that? Your own affairs diring. Spegu umuzi wako. Wena ubweke umuzi wetu. What's up with that?
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the greatest capitalist in the history of the United States of America, Elon Musk.
Sorry. No. Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone.
Yo, it's 45 minutes. Woo! Let's watch.
That's a good video.
Let me play the 2x, yo. I can't comment too much. I started the stream early because today I have to do some taxes. I'm going to be on the phone with my dude, my homie, the part of the admin that I'm working behind the scenes there to launch Gadget Plug, my company. I've been VAT registering the subsidiary that I've registered, the new company that will do all of that. So you asked me earlier, Kingsley, about me selling PS5. So you know about Gadget Plug, right? So Gadget Plug, I intend for that to be a company all on its own. So far, I've been launching it under the umbrella of the holding company. I've been using documentation as well of the holding company, which has a different name. But as I've been writing and making proposals and filling in forms and what so forth to be able to really hit this out, I've been using the main company. But now I've registered a subsidiary company. And with that subsidiary, I've had to now register all of its tax compliance, all of its statutory certificates to run a tech and gadget retail business. You know, get seller agreements across various brands, all of them. So I can sell everything. You understand? Direct from supplier. So now I need a dude who's going to be helping me do taxes, and we have an appointment there at 9. So let's get into this.
Can I rock him?
X, you okay?
From the beginning, I knew that this was going to come a cropper pretty quickly.
Donald Trump, Elon Musk. When it comes to relationships, this one is complicated.
Because they're babies. They have huge egos.
And erratic. And fraught.
You take a question, Mr. Musk.
He went the fuse, yeah. He went ballistic.
Tonight, how these men went from bros to foes.
They're very mature. They love to argue.
The power plays and social media stats.
So he's another bullshit artist.
He was absolutely used for his money.
As two of the biggest egos in the world, battle for influence and the future of America.
I said, okay, tell me, why are you doing this?
So, who will be the ultimate victor?
The curious thing is that Donald Trump usually doesn't lose.
For those who crave power, there could be no better classroom than New York. Making it in this city not only proved to Donald Trump anything was possible, it also taught him the more weight he could throw around, the greater his supremacy would be. When he moved from Trump Tower to the White House, his first term as president reinforced the lesson. His second stint is now cementing it.
I was saved by God to make America great again. I will obey the orders of the President of the United States. There's never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. The U.S. can survive without almost anybody, except me.
President Donald Trump.
Yo, I even screwed up again. I said let's start an episode, and what I was supposed to do was to hit start recording there because this stream is going to go up, and I realized that okay, I can download the stream and edit it later, but it's always best to record locally so that I just have the file. So I'm getting to grips with the streaming issues. If you're joining me, should I just go back? Yeah, we're like 3 minutes in. Will you forgive me? I need to press this start recording button now. So I will have this portion going forward. At least I didn't record that first portion talking about ADHD. I don't have to do any of that. Please just give me a moment. We make mistakes out here, and I really need to pee real bad. So hey, here we are, going back to the beginning again. Hey, what's up? Back at you with another video. We are looking here at a video from, this video comes courtesy of what?
He's famously a one-man show.
Of 60 Minutes Australia.
But for a while this
And this video is about the breaking fight between Trump and Elon Musk. We are keeping track of this because Colonel Chris Wyatt is keeping track of events here in South Africa. And so we just want to reciprocate, nothing bad. I get all is good. So the African Refugee Program, as these events unfold, as these kind of situations happen, this fight in particular, we are wondering if the African refugees will be made uncomfortable in any way or so forth. And so let's watch and understand where this is all coming from. This is for 45 minutes. I'll bring this to you at 1.2 or 1.5x speed or something.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the greatest capitalist in the history of the United States of America, Elon Musk!
Sorry. No. Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Nice meeting you. Come here often.
Actually, you okay?
From the beginning, I knew that this was going to come a cropper pretty quickly.
Donald Trump, Elon Musk. When it comes to relationships, this one is complicated.
Because they're babies. They have huge egos.
And erratic. And fraught.
You take a question, Mr. Musk.
He lit the fuse, yeah. He went ballistic.
Tonight, how these men went from bros to foes.
They're very immature. They love to argue.
The power plays and social media spats.
Come on now. So he's another bullshit artist.
He was
Come on, man.
As two of the biggest egos in the world, battle for influence and the future of America.
I said, okay, tell me, why are you doing this?
So, who will be the ultimate victor?
The curious thing is that Donald Trump usually doesn't lose.
For those who crave power, there could be no better classroom than New York. Making it in this city not only proved to Donald Trump anything was possible, it also taught him the more weight he could throw around, the greater his supremacy would be. When he moved from Trump Tower to the White House, his first term as president reinforced the lesson. His second stint is now cementing it.
I was saved by God to make America great again. I will obey the orders of the President of the United States. There's never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. The U.S. can survive without almost anybody, except me.
President Donald Trump is famously a one-man show.
Come here, Elon!
But for a while this year, he allowed someone else to share his spotlight.
And X is with him, X.
The richest man in the world, Elon Musk. The duo, both fans of disruption and breaking the norms, spelled double trouble for democracy in the eyes of their critics.
The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt about that. There's living the dream and there's living the meme, and it's pretty much what's happening, you know.
Musk, launching towards being the world's first trillionaire, was put in charge of Trump's new pet project. The ambitious deficiency.
He wants
to wait. OBS Studio reconnection successful. Am I still live? So I went and got my phone so I can respond to the stream from this side, because when I type there, some hotkeys fire off some sounds. Am I still live? Hey. Yo, tell me quick, am I live? Is this saying live? It is. I am. Yo, so we continue.
Washington, D.C. wasn't big enough for the two of them.
an explosive and very public feud that quickly devolved into a brawl over power and influence.
The unraveling of a bromance real time.
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
He has no intention of speaking to the Tesla CEO. It's very unclear now where this relationship is going to go.
Everyone who is in a relationship with Donald Trump, that relationship ends in tears. Humiliations, public firings, indictments.
This was quite the flex from the president, effectively able to oust the world's richest man.
He outs everyone. It doesn't make any difference. It is a one-man show. That's not going to change.
On Elon Musk, do you plan to speak to him on the phone anytime soon?
I haven't really thought about it, actually.
I think right now, he's basically seen as, a dog that the president is kicking around, who's then having hissy fits about it on the internet. I don't think that that's what Elon Musk wants, right? He doesn't want to be a loser. Right now, he's a loser.
Nothing about Elon Musk and Donald Trump's breakup surprised Washington. What did shock the world is how they came together in the first place. Politically, they had nothing in common, but they shared a tendency to take big risks and place big bets.
Donald, now that you've completed the finest residential address in the world, perhaps, what do you do for Nine-Port?
I don't know. Well, maybe I'd love to do something else like it again, but I'll never be given the opportunity. We'll never be able to have this kind of a location, this kind of a place. 1983 was a great year for Donald Trump with the opening of Trump Tower, a monument to his real estate success. Coincidentally, it was also a significant year for Elon Musk. Then 12, the budding billionaire developed and sold for $500 a video game about spaceships and aliens. But back then, neither Trump nor Musk had any idea how 4 decades later, their two worlds would so spectacularly collide.
I think that with Elon, there's a lot of moments that are like, wait, how did we get here?
Author and New York Times journalist Ryan Mack has traced Elon Musk's trajectory from humble 8-bit game developer in South Africa to one of the richest and most powerful men in the world.
He is an entrepreneur. He is someone who came to the United States as a college student.
Like Donald Trump, Elon Musk borrowed money from his father to fund his early business ventures.
And how old were you when you started this company?
23.
Success from a software startup turned into an online bank, then e-commerce giant PayPal.
And I was coding at night, 7 days a week, all the time.
He's no stranger to taking risks, pioneering the rollout of electric vehicles with Tesla, and launching a private rocket company, SpaceX, to take humanity to Mars.
Hey, no more going to Mars. No more. No more.
SpaceX built self-landing rockets. With Tesla, he's pushed through the electric car revolution around the world. And he's become arguably the most famous entrepreneur in the world, to the point where he is now worth, at any given point, more than $400 billion.
But Elon Musk's transition from business into politics isn't driven as much by making money as it is by the businessman's grand visions for society.
What does Elon Musk crave? I think he craves the idea that he is humanity's savior, someone who wants to advance humanity, whether that's with electrifying cars to save the environment or to create these rockets that will take humans to Mars and make life multiplanetary. Everything is for the purpose of getting humans to Mars.
Elon might be the first.
Yeah. I mean, he's talked about that. You know, he wants to die on Mars, just not on impact.
There's so much speculation that he got into bed with the White House and sort of became allied with President Trump for financial reasons. I actually don't think that that's it. This is someone who is, rightly or wrongly, right, with sanity or with delusion, who is thinking about sort of the ultimate goal of his life and of humanity is to colonize Mars.
We will launch the first Starship to Mars at the end of next year.
You have to give him credit. I spoke to him very recently, and he's also doing the rockets. He likes rockets, and he does good at rockets too, by the way.
Coming up, how Elon Musk's influence spread from Silicon Valley to the global political arena and right into Donald Trump's inner sanctum.
Spent a lot of time seeing them at Mar-a-Lago together, having dinner. It's been great. They have a real friendship, and real friendships are about disagreement sometimes.
Elon, what are you here for to meet about?
Back in 2016, future power duo Donald Trump and Elon Musk came face-to-face here.
Everybody has to like me at least a little bit.
When the newly elected president opened his arms to the titans of industry.
There was a series of business councils that he joined with Donald Trump.
Elon Musk is CEO of SpaceX and Tesla, building rockets and cars, selling stuff in the US.
If Musk had political leanings last decade, it was towards the Democrats as a firm believer in climate change and an energy revolution. For Musk, President Trump's decision in mid-2017 to back down from a treaty designed to fight climate change crossed the line.
The United States will withdraw.
Reaction is pouring into President Trump's decision to pull America out of the Paris Accord to combat climate change.
Now, Elon Musk signaling on Twitter that this might be the issue that does cause him to break away from the Trump White House.
When he was asked about Trump running again in 2024, he said Donald Trump should ride off into the sunset. He shouldn't run again. And it caused this kind of war of words between the two men.
Nah, he's got himself a mess. You know, he said the other day, I've never voted for a Republican. I said, I didn't know that. He told me he voted for me. So he's another bullshit artist.
He was drifting away from Trump, but it was the next president, Democrat Joe Biden, who would push them back together when he left Musk off a very important guest list.
So, like Biden held this EV summit. Didn't invite Tesla.
Former Doge advisor James Fishback knows the Tesla boss and how much that would have stung.
For the White House to host an electric vehicle summit and to not invite Elon Musk would be like hosting a vehicle summit in the early 20th century and not to have invited Henry Ford. It was a blatantly political, blatantly egregious denial of the truth. And it was done because Elon very simply had been critical of President Biden's agenda. And it was instances like that over the course of 2 to 3 years began to erode on him and many others.
It's not the friendliest administration.
I think when he loses, when things don't go his way, he likes to portray them as like not a big deal to him, even though you can clearly tell he is hurt.
I would not vote for Biden. You'd vote for Trump. I'm not saying I'd vote for Trump, but I mean, this is definitely a difficult choice,
He channeled the hurt into increasingly right-wing posts on his favorite social media platform, Twitter.
He talked a lot about the rise of wokeness and this idea that the progressive left are affecting every part of society. And I think he views it as his duty, his mission, to push back on that.
Not only did he push back, so keen was he to amplify his own views on the internet and be right in the political mix, the decision to buy Twitter became a no-brainer.
In that moment in 2022, when he bought Twitter, it was a weird crossroads for him. He had achieved a lot with Tesla and SpaceX. Both companies were doing quite well. And he simply thought, this is a platform I use a lot.
He buys a multi-billion dollar social media company.
And takes it for a joyride, exactly.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Then, in 2024, the shocking assassination attempt on Donald Trump cemented Musk's political allegiance.
It wasn't until that moment where would-be assassin whizzed a bullet by Trump's head that he went for it and just said, screw it, I'm going to endorse Donald Trump, and that's what he did.
Was there a moment that it all changed?
Yeah, when I realized I was a fool. But we just need to restore the fundamental elements of what made America great, which is freedom and opportunity.
He would become one of Trump's biggest and most visible supporters.
Now, America is the home of the brave. And there's no truer test than courage under fire.
Did he win the election for Donald Trump?
He was a huge influence, not just with his millions of dollars, but also with his constant campaigning, his constant shilling for him on X.
Michael, Elon Musk has made no bones about previously backing and supporting Democrat candidates, initiatives, policy moves. Donald Trump famously doesn't like anybody who supports Democrats, so what changed his mind?
$250 million. For Donald Trump, Elon was a sugar daddy. Just endless amounts of money. At one point in the campaign, he was complaining about all of the fundraisers he had to do. And he said to his group of aides around him, why do I have to do this? I can get all the money I want from the tech and crypto guys.
Hundreds of millions of dollars opens many doors, and a golden ticket to the Oval Office is as good a deal as any for a billionaire wanting to wield influence in the most powerful room in the world.
Money has no meaning for them anymore. They have so much money that they can never lose it, they can't spend it, they can't give it away. So now what do? What is the next challenge? And the next challenge is to believe that you can change and save the world.
And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts who plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
3, 2, 1.
Elon Musk came to the Oval Office confident about what he could get done for America.
That's everywhere in the government, by the way.
Mr. Musk, what do you think would be easier, colonizing Mars or making the government efficient?
It's a tough goal, but I think colonizing Mars and making life multi-planetary is harder.
Two men who love to post on the internet all the time, who don't sleep, who have huge egos, who are obsessed with money, who are mercurial, vindictive. That's a recipe for disaster.
At Donald Trump's inauguration in January, the front seats were filled with a who's who of technology titans. It was a picture of the new America.
Some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now.
At the inauguration front and center. Someone like Mark Zuckerberg, who was kind of lukewarm in 2016, but is now fully embracing Trump, calling him a badass.
Seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life.
There was this antagonism towards Donald Trump in the first Trump administration. I think of someone like Jeff Bezos sitting in Trump Tower during that famous meeting, looking longingly into the distance as he was being spoken to.
And now he's looking longingly into his eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you.
Welcome to modern American politics, where powerful CEOs, including Elon Musk, have more sway than ever before. No industries have amassed power as quickly or as widely as big tech. Apple, Google, Meta, Amazon, and Microsoft dominate the economy.
What has Silicon Valley done different this time around with President Trump?
They are all turning the dials of their company in a way that behooves the administration, right? So whether you have Bezos, re-architecting the opinion pages of the Washington Post to better suit this administration, or you have Zuckerberg, announcing that Facebook will no longer be as scrupulous around moderating content on that platform, right? They're not writing $100 million checks yet, but who's to say that that's not on the table?
Was always, we're really not political. What we really are technologically driven.
We've been seeing a lot of these CEOs, like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, really cozy up with the far right, cozy up with Donald Trump.
How dangerous is that climate for America?
Well, that's why after we finish taking this interview, I'm going to ask you about a visa to come live in Australia. No, I mean, this is somewhat of a worst case scenario for the United States, right? I mean, that is what is happening. You have this incredibly powerful, wealthy technology industry aligning themselves with a president who has made, no apology and no excuses for his desire to basically run the country like a king. That is authoritarianism fueled by a technology industry that is accountable to no one.
And it's really two things: competence and caring.
But according to ally James Fishback, Elon Musk had nothing but pure motivations behind his ascent into the Oval Office.
When I think about his number one quality, it is selflessness. It is putting himself in a position where he took massive financial and reputational damage to enter the government under President Trump's leadership, to fight for the common man and woman, to ensure that our tax dollars are wisely spent. He did not have to do that.
And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it. Which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
Woo! Management is his gift. Getting things done, getting people to do what he understands can be accomplished. And suddenly he saw this incredible canvas to work on. And that canvas would be available to him through Donald Trump.
The sheer amount of waste poured in the government, it is astonishing. It's mind-blowing. We routinely encounter wastes of $1 billion or more. We are cutting the waste.
Musk did what he does best, assembling a pack of super geeks and getting to work slashing waste in the federal government.
They're finding billions, and it will be hundreds of billions of dollars worth of fraud. I say waste and abuse.
He has taken what he's learned at X, this idea that he could slash and burn, to the federal government, that he could remove X amount of jobs and the government would still function. He had, with Doge, attempted to cut so much out of the government, to excise so much supposed waste. We can debate whether or not that was truly waste, he'd saved more than $100 billion by his own figures with these cuts.
Elon Musk's time at Doge, was it a success?
In no uncertain terms, it was a complete failure. Not only did Doge not accomplish what Elon Musk set out to accomplish, which was to cut trillions of dollars, not only that, they managed to wreak havoc across every agency in the federal government.
Despite promising an eye-watering windfall,
we're here at least $2 trillion.
Yes!
2 trillion.
That number kept falling.
Our goal is to reduce the deficit by $1 trillion.
And falling.
We anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion.
But the damage to Musk's reputation and to his businesses was already done.
He likes the headlines. Elon was generating headlines, and largely in those headlines, Elon was the bad guy rather than Trump being the bad guy. So that was good for a while for Donald Trump.
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be correct.
The sell-off in Tesla shares has been sharp and swift.
Tonight, authorities investigating what they're calling a targeted attack on a Tesla repair center in Las Vegas.
Donald Trump stood by Elon Musk even as the public face of Doge became one of America's most hated.
He's done a great job, and he shouldn't be sacrificed or have to suffer because he wants to help government.
I thought that we might be in for a good 3.5 years of this, because despite all of the odds and sort of everything stacked against them and these massive egos, these two men had been getting along very, very well.
But by March, after a series of heated cabinet meetings, Trump started to cut back the powers of Doge.
What are you doing to address those any dissatisfactions?
I'm let the cabinet speak just for a second. Are you very unhappy to say if you are, we'll throw them out of here.
Elon was getting too much press. Elon had alienated too many people within the West Wing circle. Elon probably quite convinced that the President of the United States was sort of a dummy. And that's another thing that you can't do with Donald Trump, is hint in any way, shape, or form that you might think you are smarter than he is. And Elon Musk is clearly smarter than Donald Trump.
These are a lot of them just kids, just
As more and more cracks appeared, it seemed it was easy come, easy go for the president. How much patience does he have for people around him?
His relationship with the people around him is pretty unique because he doesn't consult them. He doesn't listen to them. I mean, he literally does not listen. When you are with Donald Trump, he just talks. He fills up every single second of air that you are in front of him. You cannot tell him anything because he's talking all of the time.
But in the end, what really sealed the end of this deal was a big fight over Trump's grand new White House-backed tax and budget proposal.
And that will include no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. It's called the One Big Beautiful Bill, and it will be the biggest bill ever passed in our country's history.
I was disappointed, of course, with how Elon handled himself with some of those tweets, and he and I went back and forth over X.
This is what victory feels like.
This is someone who thought that he would come out of all of this royalty, right? As one of the most sort of championed and beloved people in this country, as someone who did everything right. The fact that the last time he was seen with President Trump, at least for now, he had a black eye and later threw a temper tantrum on social media because he didn't get his way. It's sort of a worst case scenario in terms of how to go out in the Trump administration.
On May 30th, Elon Musk farewelled the White House, stepping down early from his role as a special government employee. Musk said it was to refocus attention on his electric car company Tesla, under siege by spooked shareholders after a turbulent few months. Side by side in the Oval Office, the president laid the praise on thick.
But again, Elon gave an incredible service. Nobody liked him, and he had to go through the slings and the arrows, which is a shame because he's an incredible patriot.
Donald Trump presented the tech titan billionaire with a lavish golden ceremonial key to the White House.
See the lock. The lock on this is great.
But soon he would find that lock would be changed.
Did he leave the White House a bit bruised? I think literally he did, yes. And metaphorically, possibly as well.
Behind the scenes, things were already tense, as the president had just rejected Musk's pick for the top job at NASA.
This guy, Jared Isaacman, who had been nominated for the position by Donald Trump, had that nomination withdrawn, seemingly because of a kind of infighting between Elon Musk and some White House staffers.
Musk and the presidential aides were now locked in a power struggle, with Donald Trump seemingly taking his staff's side.
And Elon Musk saw that as kind of an affront, something that was a deep wound to him.
But it wasn't the NASA appointment alone that brought it all to a head.
And then there's this bust up over this bill, the big beautiful bill that we see Elon Musk oppose because of its increasing the spending, it's increasing the federal deficit.
The billionaire then started to air his criticisms of the president's 1,000-page tax cut bill, saying it would unwind all the savings he had just made.
Which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along, and like everything he's done on Doge gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it could be beautiful, but I don't know if it could be both.
Elon Musk could not let his anger over the big new tax bill go, seeing it as his Doge legacy being trashed in front of his eyes.
It lit the fuse on a ticking time bomb.
Lit the fuse, yeah, and he went ballistic. And so, he kind of licked his wounds for a couple days and then just unleashed.
Unleash he did on Tuesday, the 3rd of June, writing, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination."
He is someone who can shoot from the hip and not think about the consequence. Shoot first, aim later.
When Elon called the big beautiful bill a disgusting abomination, I was of course taken aback. The idea that spending upwards of $100 billion to secure our border is very different than $100 billion of pork going to some pet project or funding tax credits for electric vehicles or solar panels.
James Fishback became a party to the social media fight of the century. Unlike the millions watching, James knew both men.
One thing my debate coach always taught me was make your argument about your argument, not about your opponent.
Have a good time. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, sir.
But it quickly became all about the opponent when on the very next day, the president returned fire on television.
Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next.
And it was. Musk fires back, claiming Trump would not have won without him. Seconds later, again accusing the president of ingratitude.
He threw probably like the biggest temper tantrum of the 21st century. I mean, it was incredible.
1:48 p.m., Kill Bill, he said, doubling down on the attack on Trump's big, beautiful bill. 9 minutes later, he launched a poll on whether the US should have a third political party. Then, at 2:16 p.m., Musk says, Trump has 3.5 years left as president. I will be around for 40 plus years.
As it was happening, what was going through my mind with every post that Elon Musk put on X was just mortification, right? I mean, horror, shock.
It was also proving too much for the president, who fired up on Truth Social, saying Elon was wearing thin and that Musk just went crazy. Almost instantly back again, threatening Musk's billions in government contracts and subsidies.
As someone who works in news, I was just riveted. I mean, it was one of the most wild, exciting, bizarre days I've had running a newsroom in a very long time. Because the entire thing and the way it played out was incredibly strange. Incredibly strange. These are two incredibly strange men, just to be clear.
Then, 3:10 p.m., Musk went nuclear with this post on X. Trump is in the Epstein files. Musk's mudslinging hit new lows, linking Trump with infamous sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
These were some outrageous claims to make about the president of the United States, and he just kept posting.
The president is a husband, father, grandfather. He's a deeply good man. He doesn't deserve to be slandered. He doesn't deserve to be accused as a co-conspirator of a multi-decade sex trafficking ring.
James Fishback sprang into action and asked Musk to apologize.
I was sitting there with my colleague, with no one around us really know what was going on, except that we were going back and forth with a man I deeply respect, Elon, about this controversy. And Elon asked me to be precise about what to apologize for, and I laid it out for him.
Aren't we all told not to post on social media when you get angry and get a bit hot under the collar? Maybe the world's richest man could learn a thing or two.
He threw the toys out of the pram, right? And now he needs to try to clean it all up. I would imagine that he is mortified. I am mortified on his behalf. I don't even know the guy.
Elon Musk had a lot to clean up. He had spent months living in the spotlight in a marriage of convenience. The fast fallout begging the question, who used who?
He was absolutely used for his money. They all looked at that checkbook and they were salivating.
But many of the party faithful, like James Fishback, would have you believe this great blow-up was all a simple misunderstanding.
What I can tell you is they both want what's best for America, but the fact that they disagree on precisely how to get there sometimes is a feature, not a bug. If we all agreed, there'd be no fun in that.
But in Trump world, grudges last. Could they completely patch up and be bros once more?
They could completely patch it up and be bros once more until they're foes again.
That's just the way Donald Trump operates, or is that the way Elon Musk is operating as well?
Well, that is certainly the way Donald Trump rolls, has always been. But it is too the way Elon Musk rolls.
He has said some truly unforgivable things about Donald Trump. He has said he's associated with a pedophile. He has said that he truly didn't win the election without his help. And I think when you take all those things into consideration as a collective, Donald Trump will remember that.
Could President Trump ruin Elon Musk?
I think that that's a real risk, and I think that that's why President Trump knows that he's holding all the cards, right? Because one of these men is in a hurry to make up and atone for what he has done. The other one knows that he has all the leverage.
11 days ago, Donald Trump surprised the world with the biggest show yet of America's military might under his command. A highly orchestrated move by stealth to bomb the heart of a Middle East war zone. The world again on the brink, but President Trump says this is peace through strength.
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Trump claimed a triumph in Washington and was buoyant. The contrast with Elon Musk was stark. A week earlier, at his SpaceX base in Texas, Elon Musk suffered a spectacular setback.
Oh my God.
The largest rocket ever made erupts, a catastrophic failure for Starship 36 at SpaceX's starbase. Tens of millions of dollars in damage, burning a hole in Elon Musk's pockets. Blowing up in front of the world is expensive, but there's a lot more on the line in Washington, D.C., with billions of dollars in SpaceX contracts and Tesla subsidies controlled by Trump's government.
You posted yesterday that a good way to save money would be to cancel some of Musk's contracts. How seriously are you considering that?
Well, we'll take a look at everything. The U.S. can survive without almost anybody. Except me.
Would Elon Musk have thought for a moment, that's a possibility, everything I've worked for here could be at risk? I think that certainly registers for him now. You know, we've seen Donald Trump use his law enforcement agencies and regulatory agencies to go after his enemies. What happens if he does that with Elon Musk and SpaceX and Tesla?
Musk found himself with only one way out. Backtracking, he wrote, "I regret some of my posts about Donald Trump last week. They went too far." It was a groveling apology on the social media platform he owns.
I saw that when I woke up on Wednesday morning, that he regretted his posts. He deleted them. It's not every day that the richest man in the world apologizes, but he did because he knew he went too far.
When you're as determined, successful, and powerful as Elon Musk and Donald Trump, blow-ups are probably inevitable. But it's how you handle the conflict that matters. In the case of Trump versus Musk, the big question is now, who is going to win?
Musk has taken a hit reputationally, his companies have taken a hit reputationally, and now with this falling out with Donald Trump, he is kind of in a political no man's land.
Although Trump has the majority of the leverage in this dynamic right now, Elon Musk still has that checkbook. He still has that megaphone. Those are very valuable assets to the president and very valuable assets to the GOP. J.D. Vance, as next in line to the throne, would love Elon Musk bankrolling his campaign for president in 2028. There is leverage that Musk holds, and as we have seen in the last several months, anything is possible.
Could you forgive him? I guess I could, but we have to straighten out the country. Yeah. And my sole function now is getting this country back to a level higher than it's ever been.
Age of 79, and with just over 3 years left on his term, the president is fast running out of time in a place where he can hold an iron grip on his power and influence. 53-year-old Elon is just getting going. Apologizing to the president saw his value rise, and as for rocketing back, he's stopping him from getting back on the launch pad.
I don't think he has satiated his political desires by any means when he still talks about the influence of wokeness, the influence of the progressive left on global politics. There is a certain element to Elon that he thinks he's the expert at everything, including global politics, and he's just going to get involved as he sees fit.
We have the Albert Einstein of our time in Elon Musk, and we have the greatest president of our time in Donald Trump. They will continue to be friends. They may not share the limelight in the Oval Office as often as we saw them in the first 6 months of President Trump's second term, but we'll continue to see them work behind the scenes, and the best days of that friendship are still right in front of us.
His optimism is admirable, but the reality is, in America's Hunger Games, only one man is ever the victor.
The commander-in-chief is the ultimate power holder in America. Yeah, I think he learned that no matter how much you spend, he can't himself be president, right? And there's still someone ahead of him, someone who sits in the Oval Office. And in this case, Trump's domestic policy bill doesn't have what Elon wants, and he wasn't going to get his way.
The curious thing is that Donald Trump usually doesn't lose. You go to work for Donald Trump, and he's going to screw you in the end, and you're going to stay screwed. Elon might be a different kettle of fish. He has truly unlimited resources. What will he do with them? How much does Elon hold a grudge? I think we're yet to see the end of this story.
Hello, I'm Dimity Clancy. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out.
Wow, so that was extremely fast. We actually made it to 9 p.m. and I have get off finally. There's a number of people in the stream. It's growing. I'm seeing the numbers show up, people being here, growing steadily. So let me be out of here. Let me get rid of some admin and some tax work that I gotta do, and I'll join you again tomorrow. So I'll be sleeping. Given the fact that I've gone and got my sleep pills, I haven't had those as well in quite some time. So I'll be taking some sleep pills. Tonight I'll be sleeping deeply, and then tomorrow I hope to wake up fresh and move along some admin. So if you see some old videos from the previous stream suddenly dropping yesterday, forgive me. Nah? I am a bit behind on dropping some of these videos. Sometimes the internet drops out while I'm uploading a video, and so I leave the PC on to upload and upload and upload and upload for some time, and then it's chowing all of this electricity just to upload files. And then later I found out, the PC had come off the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is stable, it's fast. But if the PC comes off it and I'm not watching it for some time, I end up not being able to upload the files, not having the time to do the thumbnails, and then the videos sit on the PC. And so I intend to just upload them instead of abandon them to wake up the channel. The algorithm is slowly getting up again. I realize that not being consistent on YouTube, is a real issue. And so I saw a video that I did of Floyd Shivambu and Pastor Zondo, and the video was now starting to become the first video since I came back to make it to 1,000 views, because 1,000 is normally the viewership that I was starting to see as a guarantee per day. You see? So 1,000 is sort of like the level that I anticipate to just get on and stay on. But then I would see the video suddenly like have a huge spike going upwards, and then the algorithm just kept it. You're able to see these things. You're able to have mercy on yourself and see sometimes as a YouTube creator. Now, you know what? Here, there's a God who blesses, who giveth and taketh. The algorithm knows what it's doing. The algorithm slaps a hand. It punishes inconsistency. It blesses consistency. So sometimes you'll realize that you're doing pretty good content, but it's not getting seen because the algorithm wants to teach you a lesson. It wants you to learn and understand some things. So I am planning to get some backlog out of the way and then start dropping videos that are current. Umkhonto wesizwe, there's quite a bit happening. Dan Corder is dropping a number of videos. Just want to link the content with him. Just want to link up with DJ Spoo's content again. Check out what Nota is up to with DJ Spoo. And I'll be glad to be doing it in this format where we are all interacting in the comments like that. So I'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you, and may you all have a great rest without bad dreams. I love you.